Hey guys, it's Kira and welcome to another What I Eat in a Day. This time I'm sharing all of the foods that I ate on a day on our recent camping trip. And as I'm vegan, all of the foods that I made and ate on this day were of course entirely plant-based. Summer holidays were kind of off the cards this year, as I'm sure is the case for a lot of you, so we decided to take a little camping trip to a coastal town in East Yorkshire, which was a really nice little mini break. But although it is summer, mid-July, and it's supposed to be warm, when we woke up on this day of the camping trip, it was pretty chilly outside, so I of course had to start the day with a hot drink. I'm usually a tea person, but on this morning I just really fancied a coffee, so I just added some instant coffee granules to a cup along with some Oatly milk, the best plant-based milk, no questions asked, and of course some boiling water that we just heated up in a kettle on our little camping stove, and it was super delicious. As you can see, it turned out really creamy, which I was surprised with. It looked a lot fancier than it actually was, but it was the ideal and most perfect way to warm up on this very chilly July morning. I then moved on to my actual breakfast, which was going to be porridge on this morning. I had prepared a mixture of some oats, some chia seeds and cinnamon at home in a Tupperware, just so that it was ready to go for that morning. I'd also heated up some fruit, some raspberries and blueberries, and just popped that in a jar to use for a porridge topping. I brought with me a jar of my favourite peanut butter from this brand Manny Life. It is so delicious, the creamiest peanut butter ever. And then of course maple syrup, which is a porridge essential in my opinion. The oats just cooked up in a little pan on our camping stove along with some more oat milk and a little splash of boiling water, and they turned out so creamy. I had quite low expectations for how they were going to turn out because it was just on a camping stove, but aside from maybe being just a slight little bit colder than if I'd made them on the hob at home, they tasted just as good as any porridge that I would make for breakfast at home. And the fruit on top was so good. I'd highly recommend pre-cooking yourself some fruit and just adding it to a jar to bring with you if you want something nice for camping. It means you'll have some fresh food and some fresh fruit, but you don't have to worry about it actually being fresh on the day and that fruit spoiling. But that combination of the slightly tart fruit with the sweet maple syrup and that creamy peanut butter is ideal, and it will keep you full pretty much all morning, which is ideal when you're busy and out when you're on holiday and camping. Speaking of which, we went for a beach walk that morning and I brought an apple along for a snack, but then by the time we got back to the campsite I was ready for something a little bit bigger, so I tried out these Proper Chips barbecue lentil crisps and they were so good. It was my first time trying them, but I absolutely love barbecue flavour anything, and these were so yummy. Also being made of lentils, they are a slightly higher protein crisp option, which is always nice, but mostly they were just ideal because I served them along with some hummus and it just made for a really easy and absolutely super convenient lunch, which was great because we didn't have much time when we got back from our little beach walk. By the time it got to the evening, I just wanted something super simple but really filling and warming for dinner because it was quite a chilly evening again. So I just popped some pasta in one pan, and then in another pan I added some sugar snap peas and also some green beans. Kind of like the fruit that I'd prepared for breakfast, I wanted to make sure that I had at least some green vegetables with me on this camping trip, so I brought these sugar snaps and green beans because I knew that they wouldn't go off and they didn't need to be stored in the fridge. I do find that cooking while camping definitely takes a little bit more patience just because the stove never seems to cook things quite as quickly as the ones at home, and so you definitely have to wait a little bit longer. But when it's chilly outside and you're sleeping in a tent, anything tastes good, and when you've had to wait a little bit longer for it, I just feel like it tastes even better. So to the pasta, once it was cooked and drained, I just added a jar of some tomato and basil pasta sauce. Super simple, but one of the tastiest meals. You can never go wrong with just tomato pasta. Might not be the fanciest meal, but it always tastes good, especially when it's chilly outside and you just want something really hearty and warming and comforting. And then of course I served my vegetables alongside it, and then just to try and jazz it up a little bit, I had brought some wicked black olive pesto, which just added a nice herby flavour and made it taste even better. Super simple because you can just shove a jar in your bag to bring camping with you. It doesn't really take much extra effort, but it just adds a nice little bit of extra flavour, and that pesto tastes so good. I get it from Tesco's and it is amazing, so if you have access to Tesco where you are, definitely try it and get your hands on it because it's super yummy. And then to finish off the day, I had myself a cup of tea, of course. I couldn't go a whole day without having a cup of tea. And it was a steaming hot cup of tea, which was perfect for this very, very chilly evening. And also these pippa nut peanut butter cups. It was my first time trying these, and to be perfectly honest, they were really, really tasty, but not quite as peanutty as I'd expected. So I'm not sure that I'd definitely recommend them. They were definitely delicious, but from a peanut butter company, I had expected them to be slightly nuttier. But overall, along with a cup of tea, a little bit of chocolate and peanut butter can never go wrong, and it was an ideal way to end my camping trip. So I hope you've enjoyed hearing about all of the foods that I ate on this little camping trip, and it's shown you that it is super easy to eat plant-based on a camping trip. You can eat some really simple but super delicious foods. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.